Hello everybody, this is Nian and I'm bringing you Game 3 of the quarter-final of Dreamhack Valencia 2012 between Vortix up in the top corner of Ohana and Quantic.TheSTC down in the bottom corner. And at the moment this series is tied up 1-1 with, I think it was Vortix winning the first game, STC won the second game, and now we are in the third game. On, as I said before, Ohana. Vortix is going to send out the Overlord pretty pronto, not hanging around on this scouting, but we are going to see a supply depot at the ramp just to start with the wall off, and I think that SCV is going to check for anything, and by the looks of it, where it ends up, when it ends up there, it will probably place a command center and just play quite a macro style conservative CC first. But this is the STC. He doesn't like playing a fairly conservative style. No, there's the barracks. I think he did that just to fool me, because normally he plays very aggressively, especially in the early stages, putting barracks in weird and wacky and wonderful places at times. And there's the additional drone scout in addition to the Overlord scout, I should add. And at the moment, Vortix isn't building much, he's just droning up heavily, and there's the hatchery going down, just at the natural, so no blockage of the hatchery with an engineering bay or anything. But I wonder if the drone will check for a barracks down in the corner. Vortix might think that STC is just saving up for CC first, when in fact there is no CC first here. But there is the orbital command going down pretty quickly. And will the drone spot it? Yes it does. It checks down there. And spawning pool has been thrown down, probably a tiny bit later than before, probably in about 15. And we're going to see the Overlord just coming over, checking that there's nothing special hidden at the third base. And that Marine's going to start to pick away at that Overlord, who should just change course slightly and will get out of there with pretty much all its health. Only lost about, I don't know, a third of it at best, and a third of it at worst, and pretty much, a slight over dronage on the main, but those are good. Some of those are probably going to transfer down to natural ASAP. But it looks as though Vortix does need to build. There we go, there's the Overlord. I was just going to say it looks as though he needs to build an Overlord, but the command center is mostly done, and that supply depot is going to eventually fall. The question is, how long will it take? The Overlord just sort of casually sauntering along the back, just minding its own business, until it starts to get shot, where it just sort of keeps on minding its own business and doesn't care. But queens coming out, a lot of queens, because hey, there's a factory. I wonder what he's going to do now, especially with a reactor on the barracks. I think there might be some reactor Hellions coming out at some point during this match, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. It's quite a nice just go-to thing at the moment for Terran, which just gives you a tiny bit of early. Well, it puts you ahead slightly, depending on whether you can call it ahead, because if you don't do it, you can get behind. If you do anything, you can get behind. There's just going to be a queen chilling out at the top, well, not even the top of the ramp. So just somewhere, just laying creep tumors, pushing out that creep. And the three Marines are going to, I just heard something land. It's the starport, I think. But there's going to be the barracks, and it's going to be a reactor or tech lab. It is a tech lab. So we might be seeing cloaked banshees here, and STC might evoke the style of Lucifer a bit, but it looks as though it is actually a 1-1-1, which I've seen STC use a couple of times before, and most to effect on, I think it was a game on Metropolis against Zerg. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Vortix or not, but there's going to be all such a rue, and looks as though it's going to be cloaked banshees, which might evoke the style of Vortix's brother Lucifer, who does like to use cloaked banshees and is very effective with them. think in a couple of past games I've seen of Luciferon playing, he's been able to make at least, well, he's been able to just have 2 Cloak Banshees on the map, just constantly killing workers off and dealing that economic damage. But we are going to see the bunker at the 3rd. Will the Queens mount enough pressure? The defensive line of creep tumors there anyway, but the health is going to start getting chipped away on that expansion. As I take a sip from my handily placed glass of water, which is always useful to have, especially after casting half an hour long games when your voice just dries out completely. But that bunker going to provide a bit more armor, about 400 more health effectively to each marine, and that SCV withstands 4 direct blasts from a queen. But there is also some Hellions in the main. How many workers can they kill? That's the question. So 6 workers have been killed by Vortix as opposed to only 2 Hellions, which is not that significant amount of economic damage, but it is good enough. It's not as good as there's a screenshot on Reddit the other day of it was Husky casting a game that I think it was in Hearts of the Swarm, which 300 I think it was 300 drones were killed in total. But the Broodling's going to go down, and that SCV is dedicated. It's going to repair that bunker. So there is going to be no 3rd for Vortix, which is going to be pretty pivotal because STC is getting the 3rd. So this force of Lings needs to be able to do something. There's a complete wall off at the natural. Those 2 Hellions just guarding it, making sure, with an additional 2 Hellions. So it looks as though this Ling pressure, all he needs to do is just complete that command center and lift it, but I don't think it'll be completed in time by any stretch of the imagination. Those Hellions are able to actually defend those charred corpses of Lings. But that bunker is just still up, and I think he might have enough Lings to actually take it down. But there's going to be an Overseer, so he can just spot out where anything is. But Banshee, I think it has Cloak enabled because I think I saw it being researched earlier, and there's another one coming out as well. But double Evo Chamber Wall should be quite effective at stopping any massive bio balls coming down. And there's another bunker just double denying the 3rd. Those Cloak Banshees are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage in theory, if they do manage to get round behind. Oh, there's a Spore Crawler in both mineral lines, just to stop the Cloak Banshee damage. But those Queens are going to start taking out that bunker, and if they take out that bunker, it's rallied right into the next bunker. So it looks as though it could be playing leapfrog with bunkers instead of tanks, as normally happens. But those Hellions, and I think it's going to be just quite a heavy mech build, because those Hellions and Banshees are going to be moving out across the map, and I don't know what it's still reacted on the factory, but I think that was denied slightly by the 4 Queens. The Queens most notably with range, I think it's range 7 and range 5. So yeah, I don't know quite what all the fuss is about. I'm not a high enough level player to appreciate before. Well, I've not really been playing for long enough to appreciate before the patch that apparently made Zerg Imber. But well, not quite Imber, but sort of, let's just say they win everything, because one won the GSL, one won WCS Europe, about 3 of the 4 best players in Europe as Zerg, and 3 of the 4, well, basically all of the best players in Dreamhack Bucharest. In the final it was Zerg versus Zerg. In the semi-final it was Zerg versus Protoss. All the Korean Terrans got eliminated. I think it was mostly by Zergs. So Hatchery finally going to be able to be put down at the 3rd for Vortix. He is severely behind in just general income, and the missile turret is up to protect against anything. And that production bar is long. There is a lot of stuff being produced for both players. I mean, we've got double factory coming down, as well as 2 Thors, and Blue Flame coming down, as well as, I think I saw 1-1 for everything, as well as 2-2 for the Zerg, and some Infestors, as well as Hive, and another CC. So I think that we might be just seeing a pretty much complete skipping of lair tech, other than the infestation pit. But there will be an engagement. All those Hellions get fungled, and the Lings should be able to clear up pretty well, and they do. Not losing that many Lings, only lost a couple. The Hellions, not the Hellions, the Banshees managed to get away with quite a bit of health left, but they might want to decloak just to avoid wasting all that cloak. However, there is no Spore Crawler down at the 3rd yet, and the 4th could start to get denied by those Banshees, which could be a slight problem if Vortix is thinking of trying to get a macro lead back into this game. And there's the cancel. But here come the Queens with their range 9, I think it is. No, range 7, damage 9. I keep getting all these numbers mixed up because the Queens just attack everything. And it looks as though there's going to be the Tasia Command Center coming down as well. I know Tasia isn't the only person that does it, but he's the person that does it most prominently. But even more, I think, yeah, even more Reactor Hellions coming, as well as a ton of Thors, so definitely a mech build. Having to lower all the supply depots to get all the Thors out, to combat all the Zerg force. And this could be a fairly decisive engagement, just checking if there's nothing up on the high ground. Taking down the creep tumors, stopping the spread of creep, which will make it just that bit harder. Checks the high ground, and there is actually the expansion up there. This could lure the Zerg out of position. And here come the Thors. Will they be able to get any good position against the Ultralisks? One Ultralisk goes down, and I think they're going to be able to just start to churn through these Ultralisks if all goes to plan. But the Infested Terrans are going to pop out and start doing some major damage. But at the moment, the only major ground unit that the Zerg has are Infested Terrans, and there's one Ultra which is just going to start churning through these Thors now. But that goes down, and that command center is going to start to just get completely demolished by those Thors. He's not researched 350mm strike cannons yet, though. So, but those Broodlings just get immediately roasted. And the SCVs set on self-repair, well, auto-repair. Just following around all their Thors, and those creep tumors are just going to get pushed right back into the, well, past the upper Zelnaga watchtower. And it looks as though it's just completely shut off a line of attack for Karont.Vortix. He's now supply blocked. He needs a he needs a miracle at the moment by the looks of it, and it looks as though he will get 3-3 up. But there is 2-2-2 for the STC, and here come the SCVs just to make sure everything's nicely fixed up. But Vortix, I mean, his creep spread was looking good. He managed to get it past halfway through the map. He managed to get it down to about here, but it's beginning to recede, just like the hairline of a, well, yeah, I won't bother with that because we have an engagement here. Fungals going down, Infested Terrans going down as well. The Ultralisks beginning to chew through the Hellions, but the Hellions acting as quite a nice barrier for the Thors, which can just take down. And there is the GG from Vortix. And that is meaning that STC will go on to the semi-finals, which I shall hopefully take less time to cast instead of the month that it's taken me to cast these games, because these games were long. I think it was 18 minutes, 30 minutes, and roughly 20 minutes for each game, which is a lot of casting time and a heck of a lot of uploading time. I think a half an hour game is something like 5, 6, 7 hours to upload. So those are going to have to be done at some point in time. But I shall see you hopefully when I can cast the next game. I've been Ian, thank you for watching.